a composer, I'm really interested in responding to the things around me, the world around me. And obviously technology is like pretty much like embedded in like everything we do now. I mean, so I can't ignore it. So for that reason, I feel compelled to deal with it in the stuff I write. So, but then the other side to that though is that what I think is most interesting about the technology is not necessarily the technology itself, but how we interact with it and how it sort of affects our experience of like emotions, of relationships, of just like our experience of being in the world. So, which to me translates into like, I think my desire is to kind of take like a poetic response. You know what I mean? So I think it's more interesting rather than to like say, I'm gonna write a piece about technology and then build like a fancy robot that is like super high tech and say that's my piece about technology. I think it's more interesting to like write a poem about it, or, you know, but in a contemporary idiom. And so I kind of think of my music in that way. And so actually the music, the end result is kind of like anti-tech because it's all old instruments and in certain respects it's like old-fashioned. But I think a lot of the sort of poetic impulse is grappling with this experience of being alive in the 21st century, surrounded by, you know, what we're surrounded by. I find that very interesting. There's a line between what is for me and what is for the listener. I actually have far more elaborate backstories to each of those pieces, but I don't think you need to know that. I think that the musical argument makes a case for itself and takes it has a direction or has like something about it that draws you in as a listener, enough that it draws you in. And that's kind of where I'm happy to let it go. And I'm going to give you some information and you can use that to sort of form what you want to take from it, but I really don't want to micromanage your experience. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah. I mean, I kind of am micromanaging it because I'm like telling you when things rise and fall, and, you know, but I don't want to micromanage it in like a programmatic way too much. So like, my wife is a graphic designer, and we actually met in art school. Well, I was in musical, she was in art school. And the art school is so obsessively focused on concept, and they really like kind of rigorously, I think, train that, and everything is about talking and verbalizing your conceptual framework. So she's really good at like articulating a concept for her work, like before she even begins. I am the opposite. I think I operate on like in terms of when I'm making my music, I think it's the actual creation of materials is a little more intuitive for me. I like to work through my hands. I like to experiment. I like to try not to think about it too much when I'm just generating ideas, generating materials. I mean, at a certain point, obviously, I really get in there and sculpt and make the form and think about it. But there's a good chunk of time where I really genuinely feel like I don't intellectually know what I'm doing. And I like that. I think that's actually important to what is happening for me. So a lot of the times I'll get pretty far in a piece and I'll be like, I I don't have a clue what this is about. You know what I mean? And then there's this simultaneous process that will happen where it's like me trying to finish the piece and then me also trying to figure out how to articulate what is going on. And then there's like usually like a kind of back and forth, which I think is, that's just my process. And yeah, I know a lot of people are different, but yeah.